Pretty much, yep, we are all done with Legend of Zelda 1. One game of Zelda completed. So, pretty much at this point, who would like to go first in giving their final thoughts on Zelda 1?
You go ahead first.
Alrighty. So, pretty much for me, like I said, if you see my old playthroughs and everything, and actually, yeah, when I was doing the practice run on Legend of Zelda 1, I actually also looked back and listened to my first playthrough on the first Legend of Zelda game and everything. And pretty much right from the second quest and everything, like, you could pretty much tell that, like, slowly I was actually appreciating the game, like, more and more after I got done beating it the first time and everything. And honestly, like, the more that I play this game and the more that, like, I learned the history behind it and how the game was made and everything, and pretty much, like, how a lot of people, like, pretty much, like, had, like, fond memories of this game, grew up with it, and pretty much, offered their own perspective on this game and such. Pretty much I've learned to, like, respect this game a lot more, and pretty much, at this point and everything, I consider this Legend of Zelda game, like, to be one of my favorite NES games, probably even one of my favorite games of, like, all time and everything, like, because, like, pretty much, like, there's a lot of stuff in this game and everything that is still very fun. One thing that I actually do love about this game, and something that always did impress me, even the first time I saw, like, videos of it, was the graphics. Now pretty much admittedly, like, you know, pretty much, like, yes, like, the graphics, in some way are a little, I wouldn't say dated per se and everything, but pretty much you could tell there's just, like, you know, different generation and everything. But pretty much still, like, even with that knowledge in mind and such, like, pretty much, like, even for an 8-bit, like, a game and everything that came out in, like, 1986 and everything, there's a lot, like, in this game in terms of, like, the characters, the monsters, the overworld, and even the dungeons. Like, there is a lot to this game that definitely still has its charm. Pretty much, like, even playing this game now and everything, and being open to, like, the overworld of, like, Hyrule and such, there's a lot to this game that pretty much still makes the exploration fun. It makes it, like, pretty much fun, engaging, as best it can and such. And pretty much, like, yeah, even the gameplay as well, too. Like, while the gameplay is simple by today's standards and such, it's still a very fun gameplay either way. Like, the fact that you can pretty much use whatever item that, you know, you want to use to try to make the game even either easier or challenging on yourself and everything. That's something to be, like, you know, very admirable for and everything.
It has a lot of replay value, that's for sure.
It does, like, it does, like, there's a lot to this game that, like, when you think about it, like, yeah, it definitely does add a lot of replay value. And that's also very true when, like, when you heard that, like, you know, the team added a second quest, all because that, like, there was still, like, half the data left on this game cartridge. That was still very, like, great of them, great for the developers to do, because, like I said, they did not have to make, like, a brand new second quest if they didn't want to. Like, they could have just done, like, the Super Mario Brothers route, where pretty much, like, it's the first quest all over again, just like, you know, enemies getting a little bit more harder or more faster or something like that. But actually no, like, they actually went out of the way to make, like, brand new dungeons, even giving them, like, a brand new dungeon locations and such, and making, like, each of the overworld items have a little bit more use to them when compared to the first quest. So, yeah, pretty much that is something that, like, I have to, like, you know, go ahead.
At least they didn't reuse the same dungeons for. At least they didn't reuse the same dungeons for the second quest like they did with Mario.
Yeah, pretty much, like I said, like, yeah, each of the dungeons were actually very, like, new. Like, yeah, there was, like, a new map and everything. Like, pretty much, it even had, like, where the compass would be, where the map would be, and it even gave you, like, it even swapped the dungeon items around too. Which again is something that, you know, is very admirable for the team to do and everything. Like I said, they did not have to do that if they didn't want to, but the fact they did, and pretty much, like, pretty much gave the players, like, something a little bit more of a challenge to them, should they wish to do it and everything. Again, like, it's very admirable for them to do that and such. And like I said, that's one of the reasons why, like, you know, I definitely love The Legend of Zelda more and more. Like, the more times that I play this game and everything, and the more that I hear, like, other people's perspective and thoughts on the game, it really does make me appreciate the game, like, for what it is and such. Now, I don't know if I would say this is my most favorite Legend of Zelda game of all time and everything, because, like I said, there's still 3 other games that, like, we have to do for the marathon, and not only that, but there's also like other future games that like I'm definitely very like interested and excited to get through as well too. But I definitely will say this, that this is still like a very fun Zelda game overall and such. I still had a lot of fun with it. Like I said, I like the music, I like the graphics. I like the simple but yet still very engaging gameplay that the game offers you and everything. So honestly, that was actually there is one nitpick I do want to like get to the game and everything, and it's a nitpick that I know that like a lot of people have. But honestly, I'm gonna let Barney like address that nitpick and everything once we get to his thoughts. Because to be honest and everything, I know that like he probably has like something to say on like that certain nitpick and everything. But pretty much as for me and such, while there is still some minor parts or at least like minor gripes to this first game that I can understand why like some Zelda fans or even just like casual video gamers to like this day might be a little hesitant to playing it. Honestly, just one of those games where like pretty much I would say like give it a try. Like if you're someone that actually loves like a good little like open world action adventure game and everything, and wants something like a bit old school, or at least like figure out or at least like play a game to where like it all started and where like pretty much like gave the action adventure genre a boost and everything. Pretty much there's like no denying that this game did a lot for like video games and everything to this day. Pretty much in the same way that Mario did a lot for like platformers as well too. So pretty much it is a game that at the very least like you should at least like pick up and give it a try just for a little bit. And if it's a game to where you feel like you want to play some more and beat it, then I would definitely say go for it and such. So for me and everything, alright, so for me and everything, I liked The Legend of Zelda enough. I still had a lot of fun playing with the game and such. I definitely had a lot of fun streaming it, so for me, I'm gonna give Legend of Zelda, you know what, I'm feeling generous. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. I'm giving Legend of Zelda an 8 out of 10, and if he was to do a tier list for the Legend of Zelda and everything, then pretty much I would place the first game at A tier, honestly, because, honestly, even with the minor gripes I might have with the game here and there, this is still a very fun game that every time that I come back and play it, I still have a lot of fun with this game to this day. And I definitely don't regret, like, playing this game one bit, where I did a Let's Play of it on my gaming channel. And pretty much I would still be happy to, like, play this game whenever I get bored and such, so, yep. Alright, so that's my final thoughts on Legend of Zelda. So go ahead, Barney, pretty much what are your thoughts on The Legend of Zelda? Not only from the first quest, but what's also your thoughts on the second quest as well, too, of this game?
Okay, so this game, I have a very interesting history with this game. You were the one that basically told me, you gotta give it a shot, man. You gotta give it a shot, man. I was like, okay, you know what, I'll give it a shot. I don't like Zelda, at the time, of course. But once I gave it a try, I was pleasantly surprised at how fun the game was. And honestly, to this day, I still enjoy Zelda 1 for what it is. Now, in terms of the second quest, I will admit, like, there were some stuff that blew me away about the second quest. Like, the red bubbles, the fact that the dungeons are in separate places, and the fact that Dungeon 9 it was super easy. I was like, wow.
Yeah, it was. I mean, like, honestly, like, aside of Wish World to maybe, like, a patcher and everything, like, yeah, Dungeon 9 definitely felt, like, smaller when compared to, like, the Dungeon 9 from the first quest and everything. Like, it definitely felt like that, pretty much, like, if you're a little bit more careful and definitely plan, like, a good strategy ahead of time and everything, you could pretty much, like, beat Dungeon 9 in the second quest almost, like, no trouble whatsoever and such. And the fact that, like, like I said, that, like, in the first quest, that we did not die once in the first quest, that's still something, like, very impressive that, like, I honestly, I did not expect even me to pull off something like that, so that was still pretty fun. And like I said, we only died 3 times throughout the whole game in of itself, so that in itself is still very impressive.
Indeed. Now, if there's anything negative, I will say. If there's anything negative I have to say about this game, now, I have a lot of positives with this game, but in terms of negatives, I don't have too many negatives to say. The only negative I do have is that some of the enemies can be annoying, but that's to be expected. And another one is that I feel Link's combat system is a little bit stale, especially for first timers.
Yeah, like pretty much, for those that have played the later Zelda series, like say even A Link to the Past or even like Ocarina of Time and everything, like pretty much like, yeah, when you play the first Legend of Zelda and everything, it's gonna feel a little bit weird pressing the A button, and the only thing that, like, Link could do is actually just, like, thrust his sword at the enemies as well. So, pretty much, like, that will give some time for, like, new players to get used to and everything. But once you get used to it and such, like, it's not really all too bad and everything. Like, the combat is still there and everything, and pretty much, like, you still get the event, you still get the sense of, like, you know, you're going on an adventure and everything. Which is something that, like, you know, Miyamoto wanted to do from the very beginning. Like, he definitely wanted this game to feel like, you know, to players are like, hey, you have control now. This is where you can go. Here's your sword. Go out. Go out, have fun, and pretty much make some friends along the way. Pretty much, like, you know, there's one in the few Nintendo games where pretty much you were kind of forced to talk to, like, you know, either you were forced to talk to a couple of people, or at the very least, if you were, like, a kid in America and everything, pretty much you could call the Nintendo hotline as well, too. Pretty much give Nintendo your money, in order for you to, like, you know, learn some tips and secrets about Legend of Zelda, which... yeah, pretty much Legend of Zelda was the reason that, you know, Nintendo Hotline existed in the first place. So, pretty much, yeah, like I said, like, Zelda not only did a lot for video games, but it did a lot for Nintendo, if you couldn't tell already.
Indeed. Now, I will say, between this and Mario Bros., which are the two ones I've played the most, to me, this one's a no-brainer. Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah, honestly, like,
because,
between... go ahead, you first.
Go ahead. Okay. Because honestly, while I do love Zelda, it's the first Zelda game that I really enjoyed. It's one of those games that I play once and then maybe wait like a couple months before I try it again. Because after a while, if you play it too many times, it gets a little bit of a burnout. But with Mario, I don't get that burnout at all.
Yeah, pretty much, like, at least with Mario and everything, like, honestly, like, I can play both Mario and Zelda back hand to hand and everything. But pretty much, like, it's one of those where it just depends on, like, what kind of a mood I'm in. Like, you know, if I just want, like, you know, something a little bit more, like, simpler and try to, like, you know, pretty much, like, you know, play a game to where, like, you know, I don't really have to strategize all too much. And, like, yeah, obviously I'll go with Super Mario Brothers. But if I want to go somewhere to where, like, I want to get a sense of, like, you know, adventure, or pretty much, like, just pretty much, like, you know, just explore, like, you know, a fast open world and everything. And obviously I'll go with Zelda as well, too. So... pretty much, like, yeah, there's something for, like, both Mario and Zelda that, like, fans can enjoy. I do know, like, for some people, like, they do say that, like, Legend of Zelda 1, like, it can be a bit cryptic and everything when compared to, like, the later Zelda games. And honestly, I do see where the nitpicks are coming from and everything. But honestly, to me, and especially, like, hearing the other people, like, pretty much, like, you know, defending Zelda 1 and, like, I'm exploring everything I can with the first Legend of Zelda game. Honestly, there is enough hints within, like, not only with the manual, but even, like, within the game itself, that still makes, like, Legend of Zelda at least playable to some new players and such. So honestly, it's one of those games to where, like, if you don't mind exploring, like, everything that a game offers you, and pretty much, like, you like the idea of taking your time to pretty much... understanding where some of the dungeons might be, or at least where you can find, like, certain items or certain secrets, then pretty much you'll definitely have a fun time playing Zelda 1. If you're not that type of person, then obviously, yeah, you might not have too much fun playing Zelda 1, and honestly, like, if you are gonna play Zelda 1, then you might want to use a guide a little bit, but that's only up to you. Like, pretty much, like, yeah, it's just up to you, and depending on, like, if you have a feeling that, you know, you either might like Legend of Zelda 1, or you might not like it all too much and such.
Anyway, for me, the first game is a 7 out of 10. You know, that's the highest rating I can give it. And in the tier list, definitely an A as well.
Alrighty, nice. Alright, folks, well, like I said, we've already completed our first Zelda game for the Zeldathon. So pretty much 1 game down, 3 more to go. And the next Zelda game that we're going to be doing is another Zelda game that, honestly, again, I'm actually very looking forward to playing. And it's a game that, like, I haven't played in a while. Up next, we are going to be playing Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link.
Yep. Oh, the game that takes place in Tennessee?
Yeah, pretty much you guys are going to understand, like, you know, why we feel that, like, the game might actually take place in Tennessee. Especially when we get to a certain palace. But yeah.
You'll see why.
You'll definitely see why. So anyway, yeah, so alright, so what's gonna happen is that, like, we're gonna take a little break. Probably not too long of a break. We're just gonna use this break so that, like, I can play Zelda 2 on my own, get a little good, like, practice for it. And then pretty much once the practice is over, then pretty much you guys know when Zelda 2 will finally be for streamed and everything. So we'll keep you guys updated on that. And pretty much, like, once the first Zelda 2 streaming session gets up, starts happening on YouTube, pretty much that's when I'm going to start uploading, start uploading the Legend of Zelda parts onto my gaming channel as well, too. So pretty much definitely look forward to that. And pretty much at the time that we're streaming this as well, too, Barney and I will also be recording and playing a Super Mario Kart for the Super Nintendo. So definitely starting, hopefully this weekend and everything. The first 2 parts of Mario Kart will be uploaded onto YouTube, so definitely look forward to that and everything. I know I will be. So anyway, guys,
totally.
it's been...
Totally. I'm just gonna get my popcorn ready, even though I don't eat popcorn, to watch you rage.
Honestly, I don't expect me to rage all that much, but I definitely might feel frustrated here and there. It just all depends on, like, how, like, a Super Mario Kart's gonna treat me and such. But anyway,
Okay,
guys,
so,
go ahead, you first.
now I was gonna mention, are we gonna bring back Idiotic Mario for it?
Well, that all depends. Well, that all depends, because most likely, yeah, he's gonna pick me, because he's a Mario simp.
Well, of course, he's a Mario sympathizer, so of course he is.
Yeah, I am, to be honest. Yeah, I am, to be honest, but anyway, alrighty. So anyway, guys, it's been Sakura Diesel saying thank you all so much for watching. If you guys have enjoyed seeing the final part of the first Zeldathon Legend of Zelda stream, don't forget to hit that like button. If you guys are excited to see Super Mario Kart, as well as, like, us getting to the next Zelda game, Zelda 2, hit that subscribe button as well. Speaking of games, don't forget, if you guys got any games you want me to try out, you can list them in the comments or on the YouTube or on my Facebook page. If you guys like movie and TV show reviews, you can check out my main channel, where I mostly do that. Or check out mine and Barney's co-op channel, Review Bros, where we review movie, TV shows, and books together.
And music.
And music too, yes. Which pretty much, like I said, the first episode of our thoughts on Weird Al Yankovic, pretty much it's uploaded to that channel as well. So pretty much, if you're a fan of Weird Al, go ahead and give it a watch whenever you guys want to.
And now it's time to announce what band are we gonna do.
All right, go right ahead. So what's the band that we might be doing next?
So this band, I think everybody has heard the news right now. Just a couple weeks, I would say 2 weeks ago, they announced they're gonna get back together for one last show. That band is comprised of Ozzy Osbourne, Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, and Bill Ward. Yes, folks, we're going to review. Our next artist is gonna be Black Sabbath.
Yep. And pretty much being the one that, actually I did not know that they were actually the ones that kind of started the, heavy metal genre, so pretty much I'm definitely looking forward to, like, giving them a listen to see, like, what I think about them. Now, out of the 4 that Barney listed, I have heard of Ozzy Osbourne and such. The other 3 I have not heard of and everything, but pretty much I am definitely looking forward to, like, hearing their music.
Oh, and they're the ones that came, do you know where the I Am Iron Man came from? It was with them.
Yep, actually, yeah, that is true.
So I got the joke from them. So basically, if you were wondering where the I Am Iron Man thing came from, well, it was Black Sabbath. So yeah.
Yep. So pretty much, like, yeah, for those that are very curious and want to know more about that group, make sure you head on to our co-op channel, Review Bros, to learn more about them. So anyway, guys.
Yep.
Go ahead.
No, go. I was gonna mention. Yep. I'll post the announcement once we get done streaming in a couple minutes. So.
Alrighty. Alright. Hold on. Alrighty, guys. Well, this has been Sakura Diesel with my good friend
Bonnie, as known as Teapot 7.
And we'll see you guys next time. Where first we're gonna be doing a Let's Play of Super Mario Kart, and we'll also see you guys real soon whenever we get to Zelda 2. So until then, take care, everybody, and bye bye.
Bye, folks.